And it goes green. There you go.
Start.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on December 13, 2023, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilwoman Donovan?
Here.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Here.
Mayor Rebecca Fusco?
Here.
Councilman Rondinero?
Here.
And Councilman Levis is absent.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, please remain standing for a moment of silence for our troops, their families, and our first responders. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start off our workshop meeting tonight with a presentation from Jersey Central Power and Light. Come on up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Robert Bryce, I'm the Regional External Affairs Coordinator for Jersey Central Power and Light on the municipal liaison. All the towns with projects, outages, I communicate with the town, the mayor, and the administrator, and put the microphone on fire. Take it out. Okay. And communicate with them about any issues involving Jersey Central Power and Light. Tonight I'm here to speak about our new program called Energize NJ. This is the biggest infrastructure improvement plan in the history of Jersey Central Power and Light. I've been in municipal government for about 30 years. I've been with Jersey Central a little under 2 years. And one thing I've heard right since day one is JCPL needs to spend some money on the infrastructure. We got a new CEO with First Energy about a year ago, and he heard me. New Jersey is the first state of our 5 operating companies from First Energy to have this infrastructure improvement plan proposal put through place. Now this is a proposal. The documents I gave you say $935 million. I'm going to explain to you in a minute. It's actually more like $900 million. It's been amended down due to a recent decision by the BPU. But that's a proposal. That doesn't mean we're going to get it. We just had a rate case for about $192 million we were looking for. We got $85,000. So typically we get anywhere from 40 to 70% of what we ask for. We're trying to get the most we can and maximize this. This is why we're going to municipalities and asking for your support. This is an important project. It covers a lot of things that go ahead and help us improve resiliency within the system. What we're looking to do is enhance reliability and performance, especially after storms, harden our current infrastructure from future storm damage, go ahead and expand our capacity, and I just need to put my glasses on while I like tips. Expand our capacity, and by doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to add things such as loops. So when there is an outage, we're able to go ahead, for instance, Belmar, it's covered by 2 substations, the Belmar substation and Glendola substation. What we're looking to do is get it so that if both those substations are down, we're able to loop you into another substation as well and bring you up through that during an outage. And then upgrade the backbone for the electrical grid of the future. We all know, no matter what our position is on it, electric vehicles, battery backup systems, solar, they're coming. To what degree they're going to come, we don't know, but as a utility, we have to go ahead and prepare for it. And that's what this system is going to help us do. There's 3 pillars that we're looking at doing. The grid modernization, system resiliency, and substation modernization. For the grid modernization, the way that'll probably affect Belmar is through these devices called trip savers. This whole program requires us to go ahead and, well, the proposed program, we've installed about 2,100 trip savers throughout our territory. A couple of years ago, we installed 1,200 of them, and it was highly successful in restoring outages quickly and preventing troublemen from having to go out and make manual repairs. What a trip saver is, it's a fuse that automatically resets itself. Back in the old days, you probably remember, well, it still exists right now too, but a fuse on a line would go out, a troubleman would have to come out. Might take anywhere from half hour to a couple hours, depending on how busy it is. come out with a long pole, reset the fuse, and then go on his way. And miraculously, everybody goes back on as soon as he sets the fuse. What this does is this automatically resets it. As soon as the outage occurs, this tries every couple of minutes to go ahead and reset the fuse. I live in Wall Township. Over the last couple of weeks, I know twice, I've been reset by this type of device within a couple seconds of the outage. So it does work. System resiliency. We're looking to standardize all the voltages. A lot of times there's different voltages, whether it's 4 kilovolts or 12 kilovolts in a certain area. We're looking to make it all 12.5. That's our standard operating circuit. Another thing too, spacer cable. You see them all throughout. It's 3 cables held together by a plastic piece. Goes from pole to pole. A lot of times contact between those can cause an outage. We're looking to enhance that to make sure there's no contact and thereby no outages as well. Substation modernization. This is one area where Belmar will definitely benefit because both the Belmar substation, which is over on 18th Avenue, and the Glendola substation, which is in Wall Township over by Camp Evans, they'll both be upgraded. The reason being, they're both, it's called coastal substations, so they're susceptible to salt and water damage. We'll be upgrading the gears in those stations so they're less susceptible to any sort of damage or interference with salt water. And they'll both be upgraded with that type of devices. The impact on people, customers. The average customer currently pays about $116 a month if they use about 783 kilowatt hours. The average customer is going to see over a 5-year period and 7 incremental increases, about a $4.16 increase at the end of the 5 years. It's about a 3.2% increase. By way of comparison, with other utilities, PSE&G and Atlantic Electric, that will still keep us about 20 to 24% lower than what those comparable utilities charge, and keep us the lowest utility in the state with that. But these are all upgrades and enhancements that are needed to go ahead and make it so the system's more resilient, especially when trying to recover from storm damage. Particularly for Belmar, like I said, the Belmar substation and the Glendola substation that we work on, as well as the trip savers installed at several locations. And the way we identify locations is the data-driven and historical data based upon outages. Is there any questions? Let me go back and tell you real quick about why this is $900 million. So in the last week, the Board of Public Utilities heard our basic rate case that was up for them. Again, that's where we were proposing $192 million for operating expenses, and we're granted about $85 million. As part of that, they took out some of what they knew we were going to be proposing in this and put it in that system. So they're requiring us within our basic rate case to go ahead and make the improvements to 18 priority circuits. None of them affect Belmar. The closest one is Howell, Keyport, and probably Lakehurst. But those are systems that we've had to take out. So that's why that figure is going to be different. It's probably going to be about $900 million, our proposal at this point. And again, we're looking to get as much of that as we can. Historically, it's anywhere from 40 to 70% that they will go ahead and grant us. Any questions?
Okay, if anyone has any questions.
Hi, Mr. Bryce, thank you for joining us. My first question is, I know that there's federal LIHEAP funding, but can you talk about any assistance programs in light of all of this for people who might have trouble affording their JCP&L?
Sure. So as part of the basic rate case, we actually had some assistance to elderly included in that. The BPU actually removed that. And what they did do, though, is they put a system in there, and it's not up yet, but we're going to have a system where we're going to have people be able to reach out and public outreach, and also on the website, and guide people in the right direction to get federal assistance and state assistance for paying their bills, because there are federal and state programs to be able to help them with that.
So my other question is, I have had residents over the last year reach out regarding different lights that have been out around town. And I know you've talked about the grid needing modernization and things like that, but we're talking about lights that have been out for months, if not close to a year. What can we do to make that change?
Okay, so, I didn't realize how complex lights were until I got into the company. And the reason why is because you have duplicate orders. The way that the lights are reported, some people report an address, other people will. The best way to do it is to report the actual pole number. I work with Public Works as well as the police department, and we've gotten some pole numbers to us, specific locations, and we're able to get the people out there. Some of the orders, like I said, that might come in from, and again, it's not necessarily the customer's fault, because sometimes they'll call the 800 number, the 800 number will accept the order based upon the address. Well, we show up to an address, the person's giving us their address, but the light might be around the corner or down the street somewhere. So it's not really accurate in that respect. So those are some of the problematic ones that we've had. Again, I've worked with Public Works and the police department. We've got a lot of problematic ones done. I know I'm still currently working on a few. The issue is, like a couple of the ones up on Ocean Avenue, I tell you right now, is a whole block. That's an underground fault. So it's not just going and replacing the bowl. There's a problem in the wire somewhere there. And again, you know this environment, it might be 2 problems, it might be 3 problems, the whole wire might be. So they are working on that one. And there's only, other than that, there's only a couple other locations that I think are hot.
I know
so to
Mr.
speak.
Ernesto was just saying before the meeting that the one, for instance, was it 17th and A or 17th?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't have a number on the pole, so that's a problem.
17th, okay, I'll look at that though.
Thank you, I appreciate, I have a list if
Yeah.
you want to take it after the meeting.
Most
Thank you
certainly,
very, very
yes,
much.
I will take that from you. One other issue with lights is that we do have a little bit of a supply issue. We're getting them in, but sporadically, the different wattages. We just had a batch of bulbs, and we realized this, we went and fixed a bunch in some other towns, and all of a sudden people are reporting it, we're like, wait a minute, we know we fixed that light. Well, it was a supplier that we had for a certain wattage that we couldn't get from our main supplier, and they were going out probably within a couple of weeks. If some of them probably a couple of days. So we did have that problem, we've addressed it, I don't think it's that widespread. But just like everybody else, we have some supply issues that we're dealing with.
Thank you.
I have a question. I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Thank you for your presentation.
No.
So upgrading the overhead power lines, and how involved is that? I mean, is it all of the power lines that they want to upgrade, or
No.
certain?
Nope, for you guys now, it shouldn't be any thing as far as that's gonna require road closures,
Yeah.
anything like that. The trip savers, those will be installed, they may require.
Yeah, but how big
traffic
is this?
officer.
What's a trip saver, like, what's it look like?
So a trip saver is probably about the size of that table.
Oh.
It has large arms on it, it's like, looks like coiled arms, and they go back and forth, and that's actually the fuse. And it automatically resets on those.
So where would that go?
It'll go up on top of the pole.
Every pole?
No, just the ones at certain junctures of the pole where the circuit ties in, and that's where.
Is that table?
And that's where, no, not right there. No.
Oh.
That would be about one that has 3 on it. Some of them only have 2. And again, it's not a solid piece. It's a base with those devices on top of it, but roughly a little smaller than the table.
And that would oversee the fuses on multiple poles, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's a circuit. It would be at certain points in that circuit, so that, I'll give you an example. So one circuit basically feeds the whole area along the river, those streets, couple across the park, all the way to here, this location. This is the end of the Blendola circuit. if you would. So let's just say from here, 2 blocks that way, there'll be one. 2 blocks further, there'll be another one. So that if there's a trip here, it's not gonna trip out the entire circuit. It's gonna stop 2 blocks away. That's probably the easiest way to explain it.
Okay, I think I understand.
In
Thank
my
you.
layman's, again, I'm not an engineer. I can be told now, but it's somewhat right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you so much, Mr. Price, appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate your wanting to enhance our infrastructure. I'm sure you may already know this, so I'm just using my shot here. If you live in Wall, you probably know we have a skate park at Dempsey Park on 16th and Railroad. It used to be a JCP&L property, and our Belmar has done a wonderful job in their Belmar Skate Park Committee, and they have an incredible design for an inclusive and accessible park that'll bring joy and recreation to people of all abilities and ages. We have a fundraiser coming up for this, Saturday, March 23rd, from 12 to 6 p.m. at Salty's Beach Bar. We would love you to come, and we would love JCP&L to be a partner in this project. Thank you.
March 23rd?
Yes.
So we do have the First Energy Foundation. I'll talk to you more, especially if it's inclusive. I'm gonna be able to help you with
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you so much.
that. These are things that we look for.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Any other questions, comments? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing
Thank you,
your.
appreciate it.
Oh, wow. At least it's one-sided.
Thank you. To continue with our workshop, do any of our council members have anything they would like to discuss?
I do. Mr. Mayor, today we have a resolution, 2024-62, authorizing the borough to advertise for bids on the renovation to the Taylor Pavilion. I was just wondering, once the bid goes out with the specs and is advertised, will there be a following bid for the concession?
Let me just bring it up. Yes, this is a bid for the construction, 2024-62.
Oh, I had 60. Yeah, 62.
We gotta read it.
Unfortunately, I didn't get that one.
We just gotta read it.
Can someone give me a copy of that?
We added that to the agenda late today.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was asking you about one.
it's not on the, it's not on the public
Bids,
site,
the receipt of bids.
which I'm using.
Yeah, it's on the paper one you have.
Now, the renovations to the Taylor Pavilion are for the bathroom and the windows. And that will include, we're not doing any renovations to the concessions, but that does not include the bid for the concessions. That will be going out as soon as we get the exact square footage that's going to be the concession space.
So will that generally be at our next meeting, that would go out then? We'll be ready to go out?
Yes. Yes, once the bid for the renovations goes out, the RFP, then we'll do the concession.
Wonderful. And how will that be advertised? Will there also be a sign on the Taylor Pavilion?
Every way we can,
Great. So will be a banner or a sign as well?
so yes.
Awesome, thank you.
And Mr. King, does that mean that the architectural plans obviously are all done and all ready to go in order to put this out to bid?
Yeah, so we met with our engineers today, and they expect to have everything complete by the end of the week. If not Friday, by Monday. Papers are gonna be notified. That's why we're doing the resolution today, that we can advertise for the RFP. And as soon as he gets that information, it'll go out to the papers and all the dates are set and everything. So if not Friday, Monday at the latest, and then we'll have that.
Well, once we send it out to the newspapers and everything, will the actual plans be available for the public?
Yes.
Just to see?
Good.
Yes.
Are we gonna put that on the website, or do we want people to request them? I don't know what form they're in, so I don't know if that's possible.
Typically for bid specs, we don't put them on the website in case there's a change. We don't have a way to notify anyone that received them that there was a change. But we could talk about maybe doing
A render
Just-
or a
yeah.
drawing or something.
just the drawings or
I think
something.
that would be helpful.
Yeah, I did too.
Just so everyone knows, when you get a bid spec and you get the specifications, if we then later change it, we need to be able to know who to send the changes to. So that's why they're just not put out there for everyone to see, because somebody might pick it up and then put in a bid, and we've changed it, and then they'll come in and say, well, I didn't know we changed it. Oh, well, you didn't contact us with the specifications, so we didn't have your name and address. So that's a little technical reason why we just don't post them. Okay, so that answers one of the questions I had in in terms of the availability of the specifications. Any other comments, questions? Okay, then let us move on. Petitions.
I did not receive any petitions.
Okay, next is the minutes.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 23rd, 2024 meeting?
Motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Dr. Fusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondonero?
Yes.
And then can I also have a motion to approve the minutes of our February 6, 2024 special meeting?
Motion?
Second.
Okay. Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Dr. Fusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondonero?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, reports of council. Councilwoman Donovan.
Thank you. Tourism Committee, we have Nine and Dash coming up soon. You can still get your tickets, I believe, so I encourage everyone to go out and enjoy everything that Belmar has to offer. The next newsletter will be out next Tuesday. I'd like to remind everyone that if you have anything you'd like to submit, whether it be photography or announcements, accolades to a Belmar resident, you can submit them to newsletter@belmar.com. I have the Google Analytics finally for our website, which is great news because we can start pushing forward on that project. And we will be meeting internally soon to go over the business meeting, the conversations that came up at the business meeting, which was quite robust, to discuss what we can do on tourism to further bring more people into Belmar and patronize, come to our wonderful businesses. Harbor Commission, we are working on updated language or proposing updated language for our different types of charter versus party versus open boats. And we will be discussing that at our next meeting. I encourage anyone who's interested in that to come. I want to thank our Environmental Commission and volunteers. They've been working very, very hard with the lasers down at the lake. We have been doing unofficial monitoring, I guess is the right way to phrase it, where we've had different volunteers counting the geese on the lake on certain points of the day, and even with just the amber lights installed, thank you to DPW, we've seen a change. We already have fewer geese on the lake. I know that number is not at 0, so not everyone is thrilled, but we are happy to be moving in the right direction. I want to congratulate the new member, even though we haven't officially voted it in, Matthew DeAngelis, for the Environmental Commission, and to congratulate Diane Villou, who is the new chair of the Environmental Commission. We also had our first meeting of the Silver Lake team. That team is full of ideas for different grants and different approaches to cleaning up the rest of the lake and really getting that into a thriving ecosystem that we'll be able to use forever going forward for not just its beauty, but for recreation and to help with flooding. Verizon update. Congresswoman Kinney and I have met with...
Councilwoman.
Oh, goodness. I promoted her. Well, relevant though. So Councilwoman Kinney and I have met with officials from all of our neighboring towns who are extremely interested and ready to get involved with us. So really great conversations there, and we're already moving forward, looking to meet with our federal officials, and not just our federal officials, but different congressional districts up and down the Jersey Shore. So we're really excited about that. And we don't, as of right now, I know that there has been no movement on the pending lawsuit. We still haven't heard a decision on whether or not our residents will be allowed to intervene, but of course, as soon as we find out, we will let you know. Thank you.
Congresswoman Kinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so recreation, couple things. Junior Guards sign-ups are happening now. Junior Guards, remember, it's such a great program. They've really done an outstanding job promoting this and getting lots and lots of kids involved. So if you have kids or neighbors or anybody who wants to sign up, do it. It's a really great thing for kids. The Easter egg hunt is happening March 16th. They are looking for volunteers to help hide the Easter eggs. So please contact Barry at Recreation. Our next ADA meeting is Thursday, February 22nd, next week. Shade Tree Committee, we also got a new chair of our Shade Tree. Gary Henniger is our new Shade Tree chair. And they are excited to partner on the proposed projects that are coming into town. And I was wondering if Mr. Kane could give us an update on the piano project. Do we know anything further?
Yes, as you can see, one of the resolutions is to initiate the phase 2 site work. They're gonna be, we're gonna be selling engraved pavers similar to the pavers at the corner of 10th and Main by the clock. So the sale of those pavers will pay for the site work that needs to be done to put the piano in Piano Plaza. It's not, we're doing this now, the site's being developed, so we're trying to make it as easy as possible. There'll be a QR code that you'll be able to scan, it'll take you to a website. You can load all the information that you want engraved on the paver and pay all in one spot. So that should be ready within the next 2 weeks. So within the next week or so, we'll be getting out more information on that. As far as the piano itself goes, we're waiting to hear back. The salesman said he was going to be reaching out to the company to see exactly where it is in production. It's currently, it's being made in Israel, so we just, he's going to give us details on that, how that's going. That's where we're at.
Do we have an ETA at all, or not really?
The original thing was late February, early March, but that was preliminary. So he's supposed to be getting back to us with more details on that.
Good, that was good. The other part of Shade Tree, they are getting ready for Arbor Day. Arbor Day is not until the end of April. I'll have more updates about that. And then a couple things around the schools. Belmar Elementary School has pre-K and kindergarten registration open February 27th and 8th. February 29th is the fashion show, Taylor Pavilion. And then Friday and Saturday, March 8th and 9th, the Drama Club is presenting their presentation of The Wizard of Oz in Belmar Elementary School Auditorium. And then lastly, just around St. Rose High School, their theater company is putting on the Little Shop of Horrors February 23rd and 24th at the Spring Lake Theater. And on Saturday, March 2nd, St. Rose High School is hosting free cardiac screenings for all students from 9 to 1 p.m. So this is a big push for sudden cardiac deaths and cardiac arrests in athletes and kids. So if you want a free screening, you can come to the high school on March 2nd and have your child screened. And you need to reserve your spot, so please do so on the Belmar on St. Rose High School NJ.com. School is closed in all the schools Friday and Monday. And lastly, boys basketball is #1 in the state, non-public and public, which is a big deal for our little St. Rose. So we're really excited about that. They won the first 2 rounds of the Shore Conference. The next round is the semifinal. There will be against CBA on Wednesday, and they should win. And they should win the whole thing. And then they go on to state, so to be continued. And lastly, we've already mentioned it, but the Salties fundraiser, our very first fundraiser for the skate park, coming up March 23rd, 12 to 6. Please do stop by. I'll keep bothering you all about that. Great, thanks. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman Rondinero.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Belmar Housing Authority meeting last Monday. The main elevator repair has been completed, but needs to have fire and smoke alarms installed, and that's installed on each floor, top shaft, and in the mechanical room. I spoke to Executive Director DeSantis today. He stated that Verizon was in to hook up the phone lines to the fire alarm systems, and he hopes that it's going to all be accomplished within a week before going to final inspection. This all needs to happen before that elevator is in use. I was told that the bids for the facade repair will go out within a week. So we'll check in on that in a week. The next meeting is March 4th, but in addition, there's a special public hearing on the 5-year plan. So it's open to the public, March 15th at 9 a.m. Basically, any money for capital funding each year looks like it's going to go towards this facade until completion. We're still praying that we can get this done sooner. If Congress passes the funding bill that Chris Smith myself, Mayor and Council, all of us here have been advocating for, that would offer $657,000 towards these emergent repairs. We really pray that that happens, so please, thoughts, prayers, whatever you need to do, reach out and just chat to your legislators and tell them, please, we need this passed. Last month, Congress extended this vote until the first week in March, so that's what we have to wait for there. I was informed that there's also a plan for painting in the interior hallways, which is something that had come up in the last meeting. And I was told that that would be done in a month or two. So today is February 13th, and we will check in with them after that. So I suppose March 13th, we'll check in and see where they're at there. I know residents have spoken up about the condition of the walls, and I hear you, and I agree. Additionally, residents have reached out to NJDOT to advocate for the start of work on the promised crosswalk on 8th and Main. I've spoken at length to our business administrator and our mayor regarding this concern, how important it is. The borough did send a letter of support for the project on January 8th, and that was sent to Andrew Feller. And I know just as recently as today, our borough administrator has reached out to NJDOT, but Andrew Feller can be reached at andrewb.feller, F-E-L-L-E-R, @dot.nj.gov. So I encourage anyone who is concerned about this project, maybe to reach out to him as well. I was told that last week a driver plowed into a sign on the 8th Avenue easement. Thankfully, no residents were crossing at that time. But we need to keep advocating for this. This is not just something that, it isn't important and we're just waiting to get done. This is a safety concern for our beloved community. Change. Belmar Library. We didn't have a trustees meeting this month, but the Belmar Library's Living History series kicks off this Saturday with President Ulysses S. Grant, followed by President Theodore Roosevelt on Saturday, February 24th, and finishing with Harriet Tubman on Saturday, March 2nd. All events are at 11 a.m. live at the library. And the 2024 Irish Celebration and Soda Bread Contest, so fun, will be held March 14th at 5 p.m. at the Taylor Pavilion. So if you're interested in that, it will be posted on the library website later this week. So stay tuned. The Belmar Historical Society had a really successful show and tell. I heard amazing stories about the Rivoli and Rialto theaters, memories of ice skating on Silver Lake. The Historic Society does an incredible job at preserving our unique Belmar history. So please, if you missed the event, stop in to the museum or check out their website. Next Patty's Day fundraiser is this Sunday, 2 to 6 at the Boathouse. The Belmar Public Library had a great Chinese Lunar New Year, and I'm looking forward to the skate park fundraiser. Thanks.
Thank you. I have nothing really in particular, but I will comment on the Historical Society. I was there also. And it is very, very interesting for those who want to know more about what went on in Belmar. I was talking to former Mayor Brian McGovern because he had a few pictures of a Silver Lake and what have you, and he, obviously he remembers the day when they used to do ice skating on the lake when it was cold enough. They would do it in the center part, and he was telling me how they couldn't use it in certain parts because there was too much, salt water in the front, and then they think there's an underground stream in the back. But I thought it was interesting because he said, when it was really cold, they would ice skate, and DPW would put up a big barrel with like firewood in it, and we'd probably be breaking like 5 environmental laws now if we did that. But it sounded very, very nice and very hometown-like thing. So, when you get a chance, if they have another one of these, which I'm sure they will, or if you haven't become a member, I would suggest becoming a member, which I have to do myself. And or go see them over at they're right on the side of the Union Firehouse. They have a lot of very, very interesting stuff there. That's it for me. Let's move on to the public session for the consent agenda.
If anyone from the public would like to speak regarding a resolution on the consent agenda, please step forward, state your name and address. Seeing none. Can I have a motion to...
I have a few questions.
About the resolutions?
No, not about the resolution.
This is only on the
Oh,
resolution.
Oh, sorry.
All right, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondinero?
Yes.
Next, we have second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2024-1. This is a bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of a 2024 ambulance and ancillary equipment. This is open for public hearing. If anyone would like to speak on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address. All right. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-1?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondinero?
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2024-2. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 19, adding a handicap parking space. This, can I get a motion to offer it for first reading and introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondinero?
Yes.
And now we're on to public session on any items. Just please remember to state your name and address before you speak.
Hi, my name's Anne Marie Drzanovich, I live on 11th Avenue. I have a couple of questions I want to ask about. First, I want to ask about the firehouse on 11th. A while ago, there was going to be an investigation into emails, and I wanted to find out, I haven't heard anything about that.
I don't know if you're Mr.
Well, yeah, the report's done. I will discuss it with council. I'm not certain that any information is going to be released. It's being viewed as a personnel matter, so we'll discuss it, and then we'll let you know what we're going to do.
There was an investigation that was prompted by the council. So
Yes.
before we can even really say anything, the council hasn't really sat down with Mr. McGill to go over it. So
Right.
that really is the first step for us. And that will be done in an executive session, which we'll probably do at a future meeting, either the next meeting or one after that.
Okay, so it's something else about that firehouse, that's on my block of 11th. And I wanted to know why it seems like we're not going forward with the building on 12th and Main to move the firehouse that's on 11th over to that location. Because one thing I would like to say in particular, well, a couple things about that firehouse. I mean, it is a bit of an eyesore on my block. It's, from the outside, it's the ugliest of the three that we have, and the other two are very nice. And if that firehouse can move over to 12th, I counted, that will open up about 7 or 8 parking spaces on my block. And that's really a big deal in that little block. First of all, because of the school and all the traffic, and parents who are constantly dropping off. But really, there's a lot of apartments right there. And there's not a lot of driveways, so those parking spaces are really needed. So my question is, will the firehouse get moved over to that location on 12th? Or what's the deal with that location on 12th?
Well, we could spend probably the next 2 hours discussing what we, have considered for that. We're really not in a position at this point to say whether or not, for now, I would say I believe the 11th Avenue Firehouse is staying there. Right? As far as what we're doing
with
with
the other
12th,
location?
what's that?
So what will happen with that 12th Avenue location?
Well, I was just gonna say that.
Okay.
What we're planning on, we have a few more, we just got a letter in this week from our engineering firm who's been talking to, I think the firm is Ken Saddle, who has been doing the remediation work. He has put in for some additional remediation work to be done. So we're not at a point at which we can say, well, we're gonna, either flatten the area and just put it up or out to bid or use it for something in the borough. So we're kind of still in a holding pattern as it comes to the the actual remediation of the property. In other words, we have to, the person who I'm talking about is was the LSRP, is the licensed, essentially, engineer who's standing in place for DEP. So we really can't do anything until he says, we're ready to go. So to answer your question directly, we don't know at this point. There are a couple of avenues that can be followed, but the 11th Avenue Firehouse for now is staying there. I think the original, going back to the original purpose of purchasing that property was mostly for the EMS, and there was obviously talk about creating a fire
Well, the
station
large
there.
back building, right, would
Yeah,
fit the
fire
trucks
station.
in there, so the truck, or the two trucks that are
The other-
on
the other issue we
11th
have
Avenue
now-
house could go in there.
The other issue we have now is we think that we have to get it tested for asbestos. Those buildings are very old, so we're not even at a point where we can say that those buildings could remain, even if we wanted them to remain.
But I thought
So-
that the seller put like $300-some thousand into escrow, when that sale went through.
You're correct.
And that was for for remediation,
Well, it was
asbestos,
for
and
the-
all
it was
that.
for
Has
the,
that money been spent?
No, it was for the remediation of the ground contamination.
Mhm.
Right, but as far as the contamination in the building, we don't know what that is at this point. So, if we wanted to use that building, we would have to figure out what, if anything, needs to be done. Is it cost effective to use that building?
And you're saying that work hasn't even been done?
No. Because we don't know.
That's disappointing to hear, I will say, from my block especially, like I said, that firehouse and the impact, just of those parking spaces alone on my block is a quality of life issue for all the people in that little block. The water tower, is that on a list that's going to get painted?
I don't know if it's on the list. We know it has to be painted, but it will at some point be taken up. I don't know if it will be doing it
Because
in this
it
budget
looks
year.
like it's
or-
moldy
excuse me.
and-
I don't know if we'll be doing it this year or next year, but the borough realizes that it has to be painted.
I had seen in the paper about the grant that you're looking for McCleary Park and those improvements, and I saw that it's a matching funds grant.
Correct.
So can I ask, how much money are you expecting from the taxpayers to go toward that project about?
Well, that's not, it's a matching fund, so it would probably be a bond ordinance would be issued. So ultimately, it would be half, but it's not all half to this. It's a loan. So in other words, the taxpayers would be paying the debt service on whatever it is we have to borrow.
Well,
So-
but it is a matching grant, I mean, it's not a full grant, that it would pay the full
In other
amount.
words, hypothetically, if the project was $200,000, the borough's paying for $100,000.
Correct.
That's the way it
Right.
works.
So, and I did want to just make note about that project, that though it sounds very lovely in its conception, there's no parking there. And especially with, the goal to make it an all-inclusive park, I don't know how parents of children who have disabilities, who really would need a vehicle to transport their child there, that's really not realistic, that is the best location for that kind of an idea. So I'd like you to reconsider that. I know that you're going out for the grant and all of that, but I was the chair of the Shade Tree Commission a few years ago, and that park could really be what I thought like a gateway into Belmar, and we could pursue grants to beautify it, to make it really beautiful, and like I said, a gateway into Belmar, and deal with the parking situation as it is.
As you said, the parking situation is a potential problem. And if we won't deal with the parking situation, in my mind, it seems like we would eventually be taking away from the park.
Absolutely.
Where would you put the parking?
Right.
So and in today's day and age, grants for parking, number one, don't exist, because the trend is to get people out of their cars and using bicycles and walking and things like that. So,
Yes.
it's, we're caught between, wanting to provide a service, but then on the other hand, you know, if you provide more parking, you know, it's something that is going to take away from the park atmosphere.
Yes,
We're all
it's a
aware of
Green
it,
Acres.
we're all aware of it, and, you know, we try to address it as best we can, but I don't think it's a reason to stop, you know, improving the park with the pickleball courts or the playground for the,
But even though, I mean, those activities require, you know, people are gonna drive there, and it's just, you know, you're gonna be flattening more, it's a Green Acres area, you're gonna be getting rid of the grassy areas, even for more pickleball courts, and there's
Well, I'm
such
hoping that-
limited parking.
I'm hoping that the area is used, you know, is designed probably to be used mostly by the people in the Rhode Island section, which means, you know, I mean, they can easily walk a block or two down to the park. I mean, obviously, if I want to go home from Fifth Avenue, I have to take a car. But, you know, we have other parks in this section of town, and I just thought it would be nice to enhance the area there, so the people who live on, you know, Briarwood, Maplewood, Oakwood, all those streets, you know, could easily access that park from where they live.
Well, they can easily access it now.
But now they have
Again,
more things to do there.
but the parking really is a problem there, and I would just suggest,
Parking is,
like I
throughout
said,
the whole town, parking's a problem.
doesn't make sense to me. for
I haven't,
that
I
to
haven't,
happen.
you
I know
know,
you have other issues, and I apologize for
I
taking
haven't
so
put
much
my
time. I
5-minute
appreciate it.
monitor on, but, my sense tells me you're getting close to the end.
I am, yes, and I appreciate your patience.
And actually, I just want to take the time to make a general comment to people. You know, this is the comment section. And as much as we love to answer questions, many times we're not prepared to answer questions off the fly. So, you know, sometimes if you can send in messages or requests, like we have info@belmar.com, where people could send in questions, or, you know, I'm just saying it's not a question and answer period, really. And it's frustrating, I know, from your end, because sometimes we don't have the answers, and we don't have the answers because we don't have that material at our fingertips. So just be aware of that when you're coming up and you know, making your comments.
So I think my last issue is I wanted to ask you about some of the projects going on, because I did hear that the Mediterranean project received their CAFRA approval, and I wanted to know what's going on with
They
that.
received CAFRA approval,
Yes.
and we're at the point where I believe, and Mr. King can tell me if I'm wrong, we're going to appeal that, correct? And that's, yeah. They gave the borough, I think, 30 days to appeal that, and we're in the process of doing that.
So do you think you'll be able to provide some updates on, I guess, on that project, as well as?
Who, when you say they, who is going to provide the update?
You?
Oh, okay. You said they.
You, the
They-
council?
we
No, no,
have
I
no-
mean, I know that a big part of your platform, right, was no development.
Absolutely.
Or very limited development.
We
So
are
there's,
waiting to get information from the owners of that property, because they haven't provided us with any more information about it. So, you know, we will ultimately, if they don't, we will be in court with them in April to find out what their plans are.
okay. In addition, you know, to the Mediterranean, right, obviously the other projects that are top of mind are the one on 8th and Main, that empty lot across from Comfy, next to St. Rose, along the waterfront, by Klein's, and then the one on 10th Avenue, that old eye doctor office
We're not,
behind Flames.
yeah, we're not really in a
So-
position to comment on those, because they're all in the process of being, I won't say litigated, but we're negotiating with Fair Share Housing, the court, the individual property owners. In fact, we will have a session by our redevelopment attorneys, probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 meetings in March, and, yes.
Mayor, I know you're trying to tell the
Mhm.
public that this matter is in fact in litigation.
Right.
We have filed an action seeking approval of affordable housing plan. These projects are all owned by interveners in that action, and the matter is pending, and all of those properties, what's going to be built there is under negotiation, so we can't really discuss it. It's not like anything's hard and fast at the moment, so there's really nothing
Right.
to discuss, except that that the development is in negotiation, and that's all pursuant to the affordable housing obligation that we have, so I think we should just leave it there. We'll just leave it
Basically,
there.
that's what I was gonna say, we don't really
Right.
know, we don't have any final decisions,
Right.
final ideas of what those projects are gonna look like.
Right.
All
No,
right, thank you, I appreciate your
Who
time.
said, go ahead,
well, it's not no idea. We-
a final idea.
That sounds
Final.
like we don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. We know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just we have nothing to discuss right now.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then we have one more item as a resolution authorizing an executive session. This is a resolution states, whereas it has been determined by the Borough Council that it is necessary to discuss the following specific matter as its regular meeting in the absence of the public, which is pending or anticipated litigation regarding affordable housing and the attorney-client privileged communications related thereto. And whereas the Open Public Meetings Act permits the borough to exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting during which such matters are discussed, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Belmar as follows, that the Borough Council shall forthwith recess into a private executive session from which the public shall be excluded to discuss the above referenced matters, that the scope of the aforesaid executive sessions shall be limited to the above matters as stated, that those matters discussed in executive session shall remain confidential until such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists as determined by the borough attorney, that the minutes of the closed session shall be taken and kept free from public view until such time that the need for confidentiality no longer exists as determined by the borough attorney, and that the regular meeting of the borough council shall resume after the private executive session, at which time the borough council may take action in reference to the topic discussed. Do we have a motion to offer, to adopt this resolution?
Make a motion. Second.
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckles?
Yes.
Councilman Rondonero?
Yes.
So we're gonna go into a closed session, and then afterwards, we will come back just to, most likely just to adjourn the meeting.